Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you have just had about 20 minutes to work on an assignment where you were given a number sentence or two. You had to say whether the number sentence was true or false, and then you had a place for you to justify your answer. Justifying means explaining why you are correct. So I'm going to go over a couple of these with you. We're going to look at how we compare numbers, which is very similar, exactly like how you compared numbers in 4th grade and 3rd grade when you were 2 months old. So this should pretty much be a review because all we're doing is adding one smaller place value, the thousandths. So all we're adding here is the thousandths place. And this doesn't have any thousandths. So since it doesn't have any thousandths, couldn't I put 0 thousandths there?
Yes.
Does that change anything?
No.
No, because I had this much, and I said, wait a minute, I'm going to run over to my bucket that has thousandths, and I'm going to reach in and take out none of them, and I'm going to put them with the rest of these. Okay, that doesn't change anything. Doesn't change anything. So now, what we're saying here, who wants to give a shot of reading this number correctly? Brinley?
14,000.
Nope. 14 and
734,000.
good. 14 and 734 thousandths. All right, so let's leave that 0 thousandths off there for this one. Who'd like to give a shot at saying this number correctly? Go ahead.
14 and 7,300.
Good. 14 and 73 hundredths. Now we have to decide whether this is true or false. And so, oh, you know what? I should use Team Shake because I paid $1.99 for it. I want to make sure I get my money's worth. Oh, here's my phone. All right, I got to get Team Shake on this because I paid $1.99 for it. I want to get my money's worth. Let's see. I got to go in here. I got to go and I got to load class 1. And Shake. Polari, is this true or false?
True.
True. She puts true. And why do you think it's true, Polari?
Because that number is bigger than the other one.
Because this number is bigger than the other one. How do you know? This has more digits. So this one has more digits. Does that make it bigger because it has more digits? No. It doesn't necessarily. Zane, did you put true? Or did you put false?
But which one?
We're still on this one.
First one. The first one, yes, I put true.
You put true. Why?
Because you don't know, if you don't know the number in this one.
Okay, you don't know the thousandths?
Yeah, so
All right.
basically it could be a 0.
Okay. All right, so let's look at a good justification for it, or a justification that I would use if I were given this assignment by my boss. Okay, when comparing numbers, just like you've done for your entire life, since you were 2 hours old and you compared numbers, we always line up the numbers, one place value over the other. Okay, so I line my tens place above my tens place. My ones place above my ones place. Obviously, I bring my decimal points straight down. My tenths place over my tenths place. My hundredths place over my hundredths place. Now, as we said moments ago, 0 thousandths, this is no thousandths right here because there's nothing there. Well, no thousandths and 0 thousandths are the same. Because, if I reach into my pocket and I have no dollars, or I say, oh, I've got $0 in my pocket, which is usually the way it is. Okay? So now, when you compare numbers, you line them up, place value over similar place value. You start on the right-hand side, correct? Yes or no, correct? Good, you're wrong. You start on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
We start on the left-hand side because we want to know, we're comparing the numbers. You guys have done this before, right?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. All right, so now we're looking at the tens place. Is there a difference in the tens place between these two numbers?
No.
No. Is there a difference in the ones place between these two numbers?
No.
Is there a difference in the tenths place between these two numbers?
No.
In the hundredths place between these two numbers?
No.
In the thousandths place between these two numbers?
Yes.
Yes. This is where our difference is. Our first difference is what you're looking for. And when we find our first difference, in this case it's in the thousandths place, the one with the bigger number, bigger digit, in that first one that's different is bigger. So this is indeed true. Like Polari told me it was true, and Zane told me it was true. You should be looking at your paper and following along. I know it's cool to draw on the back, but that's not what we're doing. We're going to look at one more. Yes, sir.
Wait, I thought this thing was like reverse.
No, that's a greater than. The side that it's open to is greater than. So let me read this. 0 and 215 thousandths, 0 and 2 tenths. And 0 and 2 tenths. And we say this one's greater. And we have also and 0 and 2 tenths is less than 0 and 151 thousandths. So to be true, both of these have to be true. If one is true and the other is false, then it's false. Because it says and. And means they both have to be. In order for it to be true, they both have to be true. Oh, hey, let's use Team Shake. I paid $1.99 for it. I want to get my money's worth. Courtney! Is this statement, are both of these statements true? No. All right? So Courtney put false. And Courtney, tell me why it's false.
Because
Is this one true, Courtney?
no, it's false.
Okay. Is this one true, Courtney? No, they're both false. Well, let's look at it. My justification, a good way to justify it, would be to write them down, putting one decimal point, or putting one each place value over the same thing here. Now this one goes all the way out to the thousandths. It's really hard to compare if they don't have the same number of digits. So if I have 2 tenths, I run over to my bucket, I reach in, and I grab 0 hundredths, does that change the value?
No.
Then I reach over into my bucket, and I grab 0 thousandths, does that change the value?
No.
No. All right, so when comparing numbers, we start all the way to the left. We start as farthest to the left as it goes. We find the first place, there's a difference. Is there a difference in the ones place?
No.
Tenths?
No.
Hundredths? Yes. This is my first place value that has a difference. I look here. 1 is greater than 0. So this is false because 215 thousandths should be greater than. So it should be like this than 2 tenths. Okay, not because it has more digits. Because I can put zeros here. I could make 0 and 2 tenths as big as I want to, as many digits as I wanted to. If I just kept adding zeros, I'm not changing the value because I'm adding 0 thousandths, 0 10 thousandths, 0 100 thousandths, and I could keep going until I lost my voice. Well, it's the same as backward, or it's going in the front. It's tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths, millionths, 10 millionths, 100 millionths, and it just keeps going that way. We only need it to know out to the thousandths. And the same thing with this one. If I line up the decimal points, 0 and 2/10, 0 and 151 thousandths. I said I could make this the same. What place value is my first difference in?
The 2.
Okay, what place value is that?
Hundredths. No. Ones. No, tenths.
Tenths. The tenths is my first difference. My first place it's different is right there. So my biggest place it's different, the one with the greatest value, my tenths has the greatest value. That's the biggest value that it's different. 2 is greater than 1. So 2/10 is greater than 151 thousandths. That would be a good justification. Boom, shakalaka, peace out, God bless, love you, do something kind today, save the bees.